A funk roll, also called the leg pass in Folkstyle wrestling, is a common technique in Folkstyle for late-stage takedown defense. Once a takedown attempt has already bypassed your head and hands with the opponent in on your hips, the funk roll allows you to convert a takedown situation into your own scoring offense. Let's have a quick look at the mechanics. With an attacker in on your hips, you roll while underhooking the leg and belly down to bring the leg across your body. Because the attacker is pursuing the takedown, and the roll generates some momentum, their weight is forward, which leaves their leg light and easily passed across the body. With the legs on either side of you, the opponent's stance is split by your body. By building height and recovering your base, you're simultaneously destabilizing theirs. From there, there's a number of finishes, but the simplest is to build height and quickly switch the grip to the inside hand so that your outside hand can control their far hip and secure top position. If the attacker's head is outside your hips, it's important to roll away from the head, as the head can be used to block the roll and post to maintain their base. In MMA, funk rolls are rarely used as a direct counter to shot takedowns, as fighters who look to defend takedowns generally prefer to separate entirely rather than to lengthen the wrestling exchange. But there's a couple situations in the ground where funk rolls have proven very useful. The most obvious opening for a funk roll is during a guard pass where the top player has not yet shifted their upper body from controlling the hips to controlling the head. As their near side leg steps closer to the head, it becomes open for your arm to hook underneath it and pass it across your body with the roll. A strong crossface will kill your ability to roll from this position, but it's viable during the transition before a crossface has been secured. Often top players will walk around the guard while hugging the legs or hips, and as soon as the near side leg steps close to your head, the roll is there. A similar opportunity is found during the final stages of a takedown, where the defensive fighter is posting up and fighting to recover their base, and the offensive fighter hasn't yet solidified their control. This position is similar to what Lachlan Giles calls cat dog, a 50-50 position where both fighters are on all fours with a reverse underhook and control of the far hip. Cat dog is a common scramble position found off takedown defense or when the bottom fighter turns in to belly down, but it can also result from berimbolo scrambles in BJJ. Once the position is stable, your options change a bit, but it's in the transition to cat dog, where the bottom fighter is looking to turn in and base up, with the top fighter looking to control the upper body and keep them back down, that the funk roll is best suited. Here's an example. Drew Fickett shoots a takedown and dives for a leg entanglement, but it's blocked by Karo Parisian's underhook. Fickett immediately reaches over the back in a reverse underhook, which blocks Parisian's near arm from swinging over and cross-facing to control his head. Unable to control the head to break Fickett's posture, and threatened with him turning into escape or recovering his guard, Parisian quickly chases the head with his legs. But as his legs swing up near the head without a controlling upper body grip, he's vulnerable to the funk roll. So how can the top player counter this? In Folkstyle wrestling, leg passes are a common counter and everyone is expecting them, so the offensive wrestler is usually conscious not to let their near side leg step up right beside the head. Instead, they'll stay on their hip to deny the defender the ability to get underneath that leg, and look to control the lower body with their legs to finish their takedown, stepping over and hooking one or both legs. With the legs controlled, the defender can't reach under the leg or generate enough momentum for the roll, so the attacker's upper body is free to seek out whatever grips they want. Here's a great example in MMA from Tim Elliott. He hugs the legs while passing, but instead of letting them go and climbing to the upper body, he keeps hold of the legs and locks up a cradle, using it to force his opponent onto their back, where he can then step over to a smash pass position. From there, the bottom fighter's hips are controlled and he's unable to generate momentum, and Elliott is free to look for ground and pound or submissions with his upper body. Stepping over to a smash pass position is ideal since it negates the conditions that allow the roll in the first place. but there's still some counters for once the roll has already started. You can backstep over as the opponent starts their roll, which keeps both legs on the same side of their body and denies them the ability to split your legs and break your balance. Alternatively, sitting the weight back down onto the free leg can deny some of their momentum and give you a chance to get a lower body grip that blocks them from rolling. Let's look at a few examples. As Nathan Tomasello tries to pass the leg across, Spencer Lee wraps his legs to block the turn and sinks his weight back, trapping Tomasello underneath his leg while he locks up a cradle to pin. Here Dayton Fix counters the leg pass by switching his hips to impede the roll's momentum and taking a weave grip on the legs. The weave grip pins the near hip while elevating the far hip simultaneously, preventing the legs from crossing over each other so the bottom wrestler can belly down. Funk rolls can also be used from guard as a sweep or escape. When an opponent stands to rain down punches or enter into a stack pass, their legs open up for an underhook and a funk roll. It's a high percentage escape from guard with the top player on their knees as well, but there are a few extra considerations. Recall that the funk roll as a takedown counter worked by using the momentum of the roll to take the weight off the attacker's leg and free it up to be passed across the body. Since they're pursuing a takedown, their head is in front of their hips, often with momentum going forward, so it doesn't take too much to lighten their legs. But with the top player in guard, their feet are directly underneath their shoulders and hips, with their weight right on top of them. So an extra step needs to be taken to get their weight in front of their hips, lightening their leg so it can be passed across the body. Since the hands will be occupied grabbing the legs, we need to use our lower body to do this. There's two high percentage methods to knock their weight forward. The first is with omoplata control. With the leg secured around the arm, the shoulder is pressured forward, forcing weight off the legs and allowing you to pass the leg across your body and belly down. Here's Tanquinho with a brilliant example. He controls the hand and underhooks the leg as he begins looking for the omoplata, using it to force Aljamain Sterling's weight forward. Once the weight is off his legs, Tanquinho quickly rolls to split the legs and posts up, building height and switching his grip to finish the takedown. The other method is using a pendulum action of the legs to knock their weight forward. A basic pendulum sweep uses an underhook on the leg to take a perpendicular angle and a pendulum action with the legs to force the top player over, while their far arm is controlled in order to block it from posting out. The sweep doubles as an armbar setup, as the initial angle on the sweep is the same one you need to take the arm. Often when setting up the pendulum sweep, the top player will posture up and yank their arm out to avoid both the sweep and the armbar. The funk roll adds another link to this chain. If you continue the pendulum action of the legs while the opponent postures up, it won't fully sweep them, but it will knock their weight forward just enough to open up the funk roll. If you can't get their weight in front of the hips, you can take yourself to the leg and back roll instead. This isn't ideal as the top player's base remains stable during the roll, and the leg isn't passed across your body, so you don't have access to a simple finish. To achieve a sweep with this, you'll need to chain wrestle your way out, but it can be useful for creating a scramble. The danger is that since your opponent's legs are not split and remain on the same side of your body, you're opening yourself up to a crucifix by underhooking the leg and bellying down. But that cost-benefit analysis often makes sense in MMA, where staying in guard will lose you the round, and few fighters are proficient at controlling and attacking from the crucifix position. If your back is to the cage while looking for a funk roll, you'll have to settle for rolling to the leg, as the cage blocks the top player's weight from coming forward past their hips, so it's difficult to pass the leg across. Here's a great example by Zach Makovsky. He enters with the pendulum setup, but doesn't knock the weight forward, which forces him to roll to the leg. From there, he locks around the ankle and puts his near hip to the mat to avoid counters, until he's ready to build up his base and elevate Jorgensen, transitioning off to a high crotch. With this method, you have to watch out for ground and pound. If the top player is quick about getting their weight down and reacting to the roll, they have a stable base to strike with, so you can end up eating punches if you can't scramble out quickly. A lot of the setups and mechanics of funk rolling from guard combine excellently with K-guard, which we'll explore more in depth in a future video. But for now, check out mixingmartialarts.substack.com for more in-depth fight breakdowns. Only $5 per month gets you access to a growing library of exclusive deep dives and early access to video breakdowns.